Hi guys, I'm Melissa Elise and you're watching Melissa Elise TV. Welcome back to my Outlander review. We cannot talk about Season 3, Episode 9, The Doldrums, without first mentioning the change in the opening titles. I talked a little bit about them in my first reaction, so check that out. But I could go on for a while about it, so I'll just ask you guys to comment below what you thought of the change in the opening titles. Did you like them? And what speculations are you making for the last 4 episodes of this season after watching them? Now, let's talk about the Doldrums. The episode opens and Cousin Jarrett makes an early appearance. I wasn't expecting to see him for a while since Jamie and Claire's trip to France has been postponed, but he helps them out by informing them that the ship that took young Ian was Portuguese and is headed for Jamaica, where young Ian will most likely be sold. Jarrett wishes them luck and departs, and before they get on the ship, Jamie does take the time to ask Claire if she does want to stay with him or not, and if she wants to go back, he will take her to the Stones. However, instead of giving a direct answer, she just kind of says that the most important thing right now is finding young Ian. Joining them on their quest are Jamie's 2 former prison buddies, Leslie and Hayes, Mr. Willoughby, and Fergus, as well as some baggage from Lollybrook. But there really is some baggage that he brings them. It's a little unclear to me what Jenny and Ian know at this point, because Claire says that they shouldn't have any reason to worry yet, but Jamie wrote them a letter explaining everything. I'm assuming that means the letter hasn't reached them yet, so they still think they're on their way to France. On the ship, Jamie and Claire encounter several sailor suspicions about redheads and women aboard, as well as the luck from touching a horseshoe at the beginning of the journey. Of course, Fergus and his hand-fasted bride, Marcelly, wait until they are already far enough from land to make an appearance. Jamie is not happy about this, but I think Claire is more upset when he decides that she has to room with Marcelly. Poor Jamie spends the first half of this episode sick and puking his guts out while Claire tends to the crew's minor injuries. But she does make him a ginger tea. However, it's Mr. Willoughby's knowledge of acupuncture that ends up curing him. 2 issues this episode goes back and forth over are the suspicions of the crew and Fergus's union with Marcelly. Captain Rains and Claire have dinner discussing her lack of belief in these superstitions, and he strongly encourages her to allow the men their beliefs, at least for the sake of peace on board. Jamie continues to contest Fergus and Marcelly's union, refusing to give them his blessing. And while Claire does try to help Jamie and the almost happy couple, Jamie just isn't having it. The real star of this episode, though, is Mr. Willoughby. He writes poetry and he's writing his life story, but he won't tell it until the right time because he'll have to let it go after. Then this episode hits its standstill when the ship hits the doldrums, which is a literal thing. I looked it up. But it doesn't seem like the sailors knew this because they're taken off guard by it and start becoming even more hysterical about someone bringing them bad luck by not touching the horseshoe, and they start looking for someone to blame. In the middle of this standstill, Jamie and Claire find a nice quiet moment to spend looking at the moon. This was really sweet, and I'm glad that Claire gets to express her feelings of missing Brianna. The crew ends up going weeks without wind, and on top of that, the water goes bad. Captain Rains basically gives Jamie and Claire a warning that if things take a turn, he won't be able to stop the crew from turning against them. They end up singling out one of Jamie's prison buddies, Hayes, as the Jonah. And unfortunately for him, he can't remember if he did or didn't touch the horseshoe, so then he ends up thinking that he didn't, and he commits to end it all before the crew can get to him, and climbs up the mast and gets drunk. Jamie has to go after him and talk him down, but not before he almost falls anyway. But Jamie catches his hand and they both make it down safely, which the crew is not happy about, and they still want Hayes off the ship. It looks like it's gonna be an all-out brawl, but then valiant Mr. Willoughby captures everyone's attention by telling his story. A beautiful device he uses not just to calm the crew, but then when he tosses his papers off the ship, he shows them that the wind is back and rain is coming. As the ship gets moving again and the rain begins to fall, Jamie and Claire get together in a storage closet. But the happy mood on the ship takes a turn as a British ship arrives in need of Claire's help. Jamie does object to Claire going, but Claire reminds him that she swore an oath to help people, and he realizes that arguing with her over it is a moot point. She determines that the sick men on board have typhoid fever, but before she can help them any further willingly, they just kidnap her. One of the things that got to me about this episode was the minor addressing of Jamie and Claire's status. They are together, but Jamie walks on eggshells around her, which is why he doesn't tell her about the acupuncture, stating that they are not on stable ground. It's interesting that they don't use the standstill in this episode to resolve the issues between them, and now they won't get to since she's been kidnapped. Marcelly was another minor annoyance for me, and she seems just as bad as her mother, since she tells Jamie if he forces her to go back, she will lie about Fergus sleeping with her so that she'll be ruined. But all this is redeemed for me by Mr. Willoughby just being an awesome character. That's my review for this week. But before I go, I'm so excited to premiere a new addition to my review, fan art. This week's submission comes from Brandy B, the Pirate Frasers. You can find more of Brandy's work on Instagram at BrandyWine and on Tumblr at BrandyWine or Picture the Frasers. Thanks, Brandy, for your beautiful work. And thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to comment below what you thought of the new opening titles and subscribe so you don't miss next week's video. Bye!